and we were talking about the Oculus Rift. That is a sweet piece of technology that right now is in its developer stage, not ready for the consumer market just yet, but it is coming soon, probably this time next year. We'll be seeing it, well, not this time, but in June of next year, we'll probably be seeing it at E3, and they will probably be letting us know when that thing is ready to be launched. Hopefully, that thing can come out at $300 maximum, for that particular system. Now, speaking of things coming out, you've heard a lot, and when I say a lot, I mean a lot about smart watches. I mean, everyone is making a smartwatch. Sony has one. LG is going to have another one. Apple is reported to come out with their smartwatch. Microsoft, all of these companies, the Pebble smartwatch, the original one that brought it all to life. And now, according to Brightside News, we're reporting of a world exclusive of the Omate True Smart, a smart phone, smart watch you wear on your wrist. It's going to be a smartphone, smart watch you wear on your wrist. Now, this is the world debut of it. So let's get into that story now, because a lot of smartwatches will tether to your smartphone. In other words, via Bluetooth. The iWatch is said to via Bluetooth be able to interact with the iPhone. The Sony smartwatch is gonna be able to Bluetooth connect to any Android device, or I think iOS is in there as well. I'm not sure, but definitely any Android device is going to be able to connect via Bluetooth. So we have smartwatches that are companions to your phone. But this OneMate True Smart, a smartphone you wear on your wrist, according to Brightside News. Now, we got access to the information, according to Brightside News, about the smartwatch that will be launching shortly. Now, this watch is made by Omate and is called the True Smart. The reason that it goes by such a name is because they believe that this is the only true smartwatch out there. This is because the smartwatch is fundamentally a standalone device that doesn't require a smartphone to operate. This is because it has a watch, camera, phone, GPS, and many other functionalities that most other smartwatches and smartphones both lack, one or the other. Now, the Omate True Smart processor, which enables quick responsiveness, in addition to being responsive, having a fully blown Android OS and a dual-core processor, will allow the Omate True Smart to actively do things like voice texting, voice search, as well as voice calling, all features that are natively baked into Android 4.2.2. That's the latest version of Jelly Bean, other than 4.3. 4.3 just kind of eked out, and it's been dubbed Jelly Bean, even though it was supposed to be Key Lime Pie, but it's still Jelly Bean. So the features that are natively in Android 4.2.2, and from any personal experience that the people at Brightside News had, they say this thing works fairly well. Now, the device itself is also IP67 waterproof and dustproof, which makes it a great device to take with you when you can't take your phone, like at the beach, or if you're washing dishes, or any kind of activity around the pool. Not to mention, most phones are still not waterproof or anywhere near waterproof. They might be water resistant. Sony does have the Sony Xperia that is waterproof, can be put underwater and stuff like that. But not every phone, and Huawei also has a waterproof handset that they have on the market right now. But not every phone. The Samsung Galaxy S4 is not waterproof. The iPhone 5 isn't waterproof. iPhone 4 isn't waterproof. The Nokia 900 series, even the Nokia 1020 with that 41 megapixel camera isn't waterproof. Most phones are water resistant, meaning that you can splash some water on it and it's okay, but not waterproof. Now, according to Omate, they're saying their True Smart smartwatch is going to be not only waterproof but dustproof as well, and so you don't have to worry about running the risk of damaging your watch when you decide to go for a dip, or for an intense hike, with splashes and stuff like that. Now, the one thing that makes the Omate True Smart great is that it is not yet another plastic smartwatch like the rest of the ones that are on the market. The casing itself will be made of metal, which is a welcome feature in the world of endless plastic smartwatches and stuff like that. Now, personally, the people at Brightside News say they've been testing the Sony smartwatch and have found the plastic clip-on casing to not only look cheap, but also feel cheap on the wrist. And the truth is that smartwatches need to be quality-made devices that both look and function superior to their dumb counterparts as far as watches go. And just like smartphones and stuff like that. Now, internally, it will be powered by a 1.3 gigahertz MediaTek dual-core processor capable of delivering a snappy Android 4.2.2 experience along with a color display at 240 by 240 resolution. So it's not going to be terribly high, but remember, the smaller the screen, the less resolution you need. And that's one of the things with this new Motorola X smartphone that's coming out. A lot of people complained about the resolution. It was only, I think, a 720p, I think 1200 by 768 resolution, or 1920 by 768, something like that. It's a 720p screen, and people are saying that, well, the resolution is kind of low for a phone that's $199. However, because the phone is about 4.7 inches, putting the resolution to 1080p, you're not really going to notice the difference between a 1080p screen and a 720p screen at that screen size. And so, don't be fooled by the 240 by 240 resolution. Because the screen is small, that resolution might still be good enough to have a nice, tight, rich color feel. So we have to see how it looks. Now, it'll also have 512 megabytes of RAM and 4 gigabytes of internal storage with an expandability of up to 32 gigabytes via micro SD. Now, the watch will accept a micro SIM card as well in order to enable a 2G or 3D standalone function. And if you wish, the watch also can operate as a common device to your phone via Bluetooth. It is also capable of accessing 802.11b, G, and N, which means that even in places where you might not have cell service, you can still connect to the internet via Wi-Fi. So this thing comes stacked with features. The internal camera is a 5 megapixel camera and should allow for some really interesting photographs. It also has an accelerometer and a magnometer inside, in addition to having an internal speaker, which is obviously necessary if it's to be used as a standalone mode for your phone calling and instructions and stuff like that. Now, from what has been seen by Brightside News, the Omate True Smart, it looks to be very promising, a device with almost unlimited potential, only being constrained by how much battery they can fit inside the device. It will also be interesting to see how they implement features like email, text, with such a small screen, whether or not their own UI and implementation of Android operating system will actually be better, or should they come up with their own UI and stuff like that. So hopefully the developers pick interest up with this watch, much like they did with the Pebble watch, as it'll have the ability to do OTA updates. And OTA simply means over-the-air updates, and should be fully rootable with CWM, or Clockwork Mod recovery. So since they are aiming to make this watch an open platform, Android developers also should be should find it fairly easy to develop applications for this device. Only limitation will likely be the screen size, the resolution, and again, with a 1.5 inch screen, that's going to be, pretty tough to have decent text messaging on it. But what I like about this is that this is not just a smart watch, but also a smartphone watch. This is one of the first, because a lot of watches like the Sony watch, like the iWatch that's supposed to be coming out, a lot of these watches just have the ability to connect your phone to connect to your phone, but it's not a phone in and of itself. You can check your text messages, and this is a picture of the Omate True Smartwatch right here. This is a picture of how it looks. This is a black brushed metal right here on the body. So the watch is gonna feel a little weighty, which to me is a good thing. I like when things feel weighty. I like when it feels hefty. Not too heavy, mind you, but hefty enough to feel that this thing is worth something. I'm not too much into, a lot of people like the lightweight form factor to where it feels like it's paper thin and feels, you know, just like there's no weight to it at all. I don't like that. I like when things feel like they have some weight, some heft, some girth to it. And I think that's how this watch is going to feel. Not heavy enough where it weighs down your wrist, but heavy enough to where it feels substantial. It feels like there's some technology in it. And there's a reason why they have it here around the pool, because they're showing you that this thing is going to be waterproof. You don't have to worry about being around the pool. You don't have to worry about washing dishes. You don't have to even worry if you forget to take it off when you're taking a shower, because this thing is going to have that waterproof feel to it. And so to have a watch for the first time that's going to be a standalone watch, in other words, this watch is going to be your phone. This is a watch that's going to have and has the capability of having the Android operating system on it. This can be your phone. This can not just work with your phone. You can do that as well. But this thing can be a phone. You can make phone calls with it. You can use Google Now on it and stuff like that. So this is definitely going to be a good thing. If this thing gets produced, this is definitely what we were talking about with Jetsons and so forth. But the only thing that limits it, as the report said, and as I feel, is the screen size. A 1.5-inch screen, and you really can't go too much bigger when you're talking about a watch. You know, I mean, you might say, well, why not just have like a 3-inch screen or something like that? But then the watch is going to be huge, you know, and it's just not going to look, you know, very attractive. It might even start getting in the way. So it's going to be a trade-off. It's going to be interesting to see how this thing is used. Like for text messages, you know, at a 240 by 240 resolution, you really don't want the text to be too small, because then it's going to be pixelated and hard to read. But we're coming up on a break right now, so let's take a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to continue talking about the Omate True Smart smartwatch, and also why Microsoft is being forced to rename SkyDrive. All of that and more coming up right after the break here on Tech Pulse. So just stay tuned and we will be right back.